All right, what's good, Knuckles fan? Welcome to the first ever Week 1 Knuckles Family and Friends podcast. NFL predictions. I've been wanting to do this shit for years. Now finally got the fucking computer and the freaking camera. I can finally do this now, and I got four of my good friends with me to join me on this. Now, before I introduce everyone, Jabbar, I just want to warn y'all, you're surrounded by Eagles fans, so you're the only Giants fan here. So, all right,
Giants all day.
so
Yeah, how's that going for you, Jabari? How's that really going for you?
At least he's not jumping
Take
off the
that hat off.
bandwagon, man.
Yeah,
At least he's
yeah.
still repping.
Yeah, I just figured
I
out.
can respect that.
yeah,
I can respect that he's still
stuck with
repping.
them.
Yeah.
He's loyal.
Yeah.
He's
And we're
loyal.
stuck
I had a lot of
Eagles.
chances to jump, but you
Yeah.
gotta stay.
Hey,
Yeah,
I
you
respect
still
the
got
man
plenty.
that stays loyal to the team.
Yep.
So I got my partners, my boy Ryan, my boy Pat, my boy Steve, and I think I picked the perfect group to discuss this week 1 predictions. Now, before we get into our week 1 predictions, did any of you guys see the game last night? Like me and Pat were messaging each other. We pretty much messaged each other each game, every Eagles game, every other game. So like, he is my guy to
I
like.
cut the whole
we rant
fourth
to each
quarter.
other.
Yeah, it is. That's what it is. It's a rant. It's a lot of stress coming out in those messages. When it's an Eagles game, it's like the world's coming to an end.
Yeah.
Because I feel like no Eagles game is ever like
Stress free?
very seldomly.
No.
It comes down to the last possession
No.
like so often.
Yeah.
I'm like, why can't we just win by 2 scores or something? So
Why
I'm
can't
going
we
back
blow
and
out
forth
the
with RL, like,
Dolphins?
this is the worst.
I know.
This is true.
But I was surprised there were some fans in Kansas City. I thought no fans were allowed this season, but I guess maybe some stadiums you can have a decent amount of fans. And despite not a whole lot of fans, they were still pretty loud.
I mean,
KC fans are crazy. From what I
KC
remember.
fans are, they're one of the better ones.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of that is like that you like typed in noise, like fake noise, or how much is
I mean,
that
they were
is
pretty close to the
real.
field. I think the first 10 rows were blocked off, like they had tarped off.
Did anybody
But,
see the
I think
lone?
it was at 25%.
Yeah, it was 25. Did anybody see the lone Eagles fan in the Wentz jersey in the middle of the stands?
I did see that.
I missed that.
He was probably saying his congrats to Andy Reid. But no, I mean,
I haven't found the gif
I thought it was,
of Andy Reid fumbling with his face mask. Did you see his face mask
That
last
was
night?
hilarious.
It was the
I couldn't
classic
even
one that goes over
his
your face. It was completely fogged up.
It was fogging up.
And then when he was
having some problems.
he was questioning a penalty, and he just can't function with his headphones and his mask and I guess the penalty too. So that was probably the best moment of the entire game, other than
I don't even know why he had that type of mask anyway.
nah.
Dude, the people at my gym wear that, and I'm like, that's not doing anything. I don't want to
Yeah,
go
there's
near
no
you.
restriction.
Yeah, there's no. You're better just wearing the mask, man, the regular mask. But my takeaway from that game was Chiefs are still good. Deshaun Watson misses DeAndre.
Chiefs are still great.
Now, granted,
Yeah.
even if they had DeAndre
I mean, they
Hopkins,
really gave it to him last night.
no, even if they had DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think they're going to win that game. But what Pat said, Watson just looked missing without Hopkins. And Bill O'Brien, I don't know what that guy's doing down there. I'm good. I don't think Jalen Thomas is that elite passer, but let him go. You trade away Hopkins for whatever reason. So I mean, they're going to rely on the
You can
Deshaun
still
Watson.
use those plays, right? You can still have somebody on that team that can get open. I mean, was he the only guy that was getting open on that team? I mean, obviously, it seemed like he was getting all the targets. So it was the same plays. He roughly, without DeAndre Hopkins, the same personnel, they might have improved as well. But I think Kansas City just, they had every square peg in the square hole in the round ones and the, whatever. And they just couldn't do anything. But there was only one turnover, and that was the fourth quarter Deshaun Watson interception. I was looking at some of the stats, basically everything that Houston was caught up with them. The score was really twisting, the stats and just in comparison to that. That was my biggest takeaway of the game.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, like RL said, I think that with or without Hopkins, I think the Chiefs win that game. But I do think, I mean, Hopkins is probably a top 4 wide receiver in the league. I mean, having that guy just being on the field from a game planning perspective as a defensive coordinator, I mean, you have to design how to stop that guy, and now you don't have to. So who do you design around? It's really just zoning in on Deshaun Watson. And I thought the Chiefs' D-line just dominated. I mean, Watson was under pressure all night. I mean, they were getting
Story of
after
his
him.
career.
It was in disarray back there. So I mean, David Johnson, I mean, he looked stat-wise like, he had a decent night. But I thought, I thought he didn't look quite as fast as I was accustomed to seeing him run. But, I mean, he did well. I mean, stat-wise, his numbers were there. He scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Pat Mahomes just did his thing.
I mean, it's still week 1. We're in the Chiefs didn't look good. I mean, their running game looked pretty good. I feel like that's what got into rhythm was the running game that they were doing. Other than that, though, I mean, it's like I said, it's week 1.
Yeah, that rookie looked nice. I forget his name, but Edwards.
He was short.
Yeah, the LSU running back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's hope for you,
Tell
RL.
Tell me he's not a Andy Reid running back, man. Tell me he doesn't remind you of like everything that Andy Reid looks for.
That's
in a running
exactly
back.
what he reminded me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Westbrooks of the world. I mean, the guy, that kid was, and he packed some power too. I mean, he ran very well. Chiefs, yeah, man, that's a whole new dynamic to their team. I mean, I didn't even really see Tyreek Hill until like somewhat later in the game, and they were still
he
had
caught
it,
a
like,
late
in cruise
touchdown.
control.
He got a late
Mhm.
touchdown.
Like, he's got the weapons, man. Like Mahomes got like they're set.
That's the thing. They were hyping up Williams all last year, Damian Williams, and he never really lived up to it. So if this guy can be what Williams was supposed to be, like, that's the best offense in the NFL, no question.
Yep.
And that's considering they dropped Demarcus Robinson dropped like 2 touchdowns out there. I mean, the first possession they dropped that touchdown and they reviewed it. First they called it a touchdown, they reviewed it, and then they ended up having a punt. And then he dropped another one in the back of the end zone. Did they score? Yeah, I think they ended up scoring with Kelsey on that drive. But but they did. Demarcus Robinson dropped one where they had to punt.
But I think they're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. I don't see any other team catching up to them. Like AFC is theirs for the take. In my opinion, I know it's week 1, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I
I
agree with that
yeah.
preseason. Yeah.
So
that's what's great about football, though. One injury can change everything, so you just never know. And there's always a surprise team in the hunt.
They'll probably sometime go over their Super Bowl hangover. I mean, that it exists. It definitely exists.
It does exist, but I mean, even when
opponent. I mean, if they really can do damage to a divisional opponent like that, I mean, who knows what they'll be able to do with the rest of their schedule.
Yeah, true that. So the first game we're getting into, since we're Eagles fans, we might get to the first game, and that's Eagles at Washington. And I'll say this. I don't know if you heard about the news recently that Jalen Reagor is actually going to play. I don't want him to play. Because I already had nightmares of having no receivers last year. And just guys rushing out the
Deshaun Jackson flashbacks.
They just can't catch a break with injuries, man.
No.
How did Jalen Reagor this year, of all people, how does he get injured, of all people? I mean, you always hear injuries every year, but not this one. Like, give us a break, for crying out loud.
I'm just having Deshaun Jackson flashbacks to where they rushed him back last year. He tried to fight through that abdominal injury, and against Atlanta, he just, week 2 when he hurt it, and then he just pushed it, and all of a sudden he's out for the rest of the year. And I'm just hoping it's not a situation like that. I mean, luckily it's a completely different injury.
Yeah,
but I'd be lying if I was saying I wasn't having some flashbacks where I'm like, dude, don't mess with this kid. He looked good in camp. Everybody was saying he looked good in camp. I'm like,
yeah.
Did you see him toast? Did you see him toast Slay? That was crazy.
I've seen a couple videos. His acceleration seemed pretty insane. I know there was some questions about his 40 time. Like, some people said like they clocked a 4.6, a 4.3 at his pro day, but like I saw a video of his acceleration. I don't know, like it was hard to see. The camera was on him. I don't know if the ball was in the air, but I mean, geez Louise. I mean, he absolutely toasted. I don't know who was covering. It might have been Maddox on that particular play. Yeah, but I mean, the kid is electric.
He got acceleration.
Now,
but what makes me nervous more about this game is the offensive line, because I'm not going to front what the Skins. I mean, not the Skins, to the Washington team was I don't know how they cannot make up a name.
Yeah.
I'm probably
Like,
going to call
Washington
them the
football team.
Redskins out of
Yeah.
Washington. I'm just gonna keep calling him Washington.
Yeah. But no, like they got a
the
stout
worst
team.
venue in sports.
Chase Young, I mean, granted, I know he hasn't played a game yet, but he looks good, which is why I'm happy, despite James Pierre getting old, he can, be one-on-one against that kid. But other than that, though, that D-line looks good. That's the only thing that scares me in this game is we gotta do some quick slants. Can't have Wentz in the pocket too long. Get that running game going because I don't want him to be getting sacked like 5 times against this Washington front. But other than that, though, their secondary doesn't scare me.
That's
They got Ronald
Washington's
Darby.
strong suit. That's what. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, they got Ronald Darby. Like we could just
That's
easily
like
abuse him.
That's
You're right. Steve, you can go.
Well, that's basically Washington's only strong suit is rushing the quarterback. I mean, they really don't have anything else to really play for. Okay, all good. That's really Washington's only strong suit is basically trying to get after the quarterback. That's from what I've been seeing. That's really the only thing they're probably going to be good at. They drafted a defensive lineman in the first round this year, so they have a rookie pass rusher. Not to mention Ryan Kerrigan is like one of the best in the NFL.
He's underappreciated.
Carson Wentz has made him. He's very underappreciated, and he's been a very good sport for playing there. He's really stuck it out with Washington for sure. Because if he went somewhere else, I mean, it would just be a
I
dominant
agree with
team, and
I agree with
easily
that.
win a Super Bowl or two. That's. Yeah, absolutely. But Carson Wentz has made the Washington defense, just turn their head upside down. So, a lot of times, and definitely in Washington. I mean, I definitely see a Birds. I'm definitely picking the Birds. There's no question. I don't know why how the Washington. But here's an observation that I made last year is they gave up a touchdown in the late fourth quarter. Towards the end of the game, didn't matter. Eagles were already walking away, but that also meant that brought down the over under. So everybody who was betting the over on the Eagles actually ended up losing. So sportsbooks all over the place were just making money off of that. Yeah, because I was
I think
that's what
spread is the way to go in this game, to be honest. If we're getting into betting, but I think it's like a 5.5 point favorite for the Eagles. I think they win by 10 at least.
Yeah, I got 24-14. I think we're gonna start slow. We're gonna start slow. We always like to start sloppy in every game, and then second half.
Remember
Okay, we're gonna
year?
start trying now. Yeah,
last year.
But then again,
we
was
sat
horrible.
everybody in the preseason. Yeah, we sat everybody in the preseason last year. We opened at against Washington, and it was very sloppy in the first half.
I expect a lot of sloppy
Washington
first week. It's gonna be all sloppy football because no one's preseason, and all these rookies are not gonna know what they're gonna be doing. Let's be real about that.
Washington's so deep on their line that Kerrigan's a backup now. I mean, that's just insane to me. I mean, Kerrigan could be like you could insert Kerrigan on the Eagles, and he would be instantly like our best pass rusher, in my opinion. I mean, like, in terms of sacking the quarterback. Yeah,
agreed.
But he's a backup over there. I mean, Montez Sweat last year as a rookie, I think, put up like 7 or 8 sacks, and then they had Chase Young.
You still got Jonathan Allen down there.
I don't know. Yeah, Jonathan Allen in the middle. Like they're stout there in that D-line. I hope. I mean, Lane's been questionable all week. It sounds like he's going to play, but he hasn't really practiced a whole lot. And then Peters has been spending all of camp lined up at guard. I mean, granted, it's probably like similar to riding a bike for him since he's a Hall of Famer. It's he's been doing it his whole career, but the reps aren't really there for Peters at tackle. The reps aren't there for Lane at tackle, and I'm like, man. I just hope Carson doesn't start getting teed off on because those young DNs are coming. And Ron Rivera is coaching that defense now.
Yeah,
so this is a little bit different, And Ron Rivera's got a history of building some – yeah, I mean, Carolina under Ron Rivera, I mean, he built, with Kuechly and all those guys that he had out there. I mean, that was a stout D that he had for a while out there. So I don't know what to quite expect with them with Ron Rivera, and we don't have any game film to look at their new offense or their defense. That's the only thing where I'm a little kind of concerned. Whereas they know what we're gonna do. So I still think we'll win just because I think, I think like you said, it'll be a little sloppy. I think it'll be maybe, I don't know. I think it'll be like a 24-17 win. It'll be sloppy. It won't be pretty, but I think we grind them out.
Like I said, I trust our offense more than their offense because no one in their offense scares me. But then again, I mean, our defense makes anybody look good. But hopefully the only thing that makes me nervous on our defense is the linebackers. And secondary, we got Slay, but I'm still questioning the other guys. But our front,
I've got faith in.
We lost everybody.
Maddox
Everybody got
and
cut.
Mills.
LeBlanc is gone. Jones
No, they
is
brought him back.
gone.
LeBlanc is back.
Oh,
Yeah, they
LeBlanc
brought
is
LeBlanc
back.
back.
Okay.
after
So, but there was a couple other guys that they just scapegoated and just casted out last year.
Douglas and Jones, I mean, Rasul and Sydney.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't really do too much, but
Sydney kept
I like Avante too. I think he's, when called upon, has stepped up and done his thing. And I like
those were the guys to be able
Robbie
to
Coleman.
see. Yeah.
Coleman's gonna be nice.
It's just his size is what makes me nervous about Maddox. He's 5'9", and he's going to go up against these big physical receivers. That's my only concern with Maddox.
Better get jumping.
Better get jumping. But I think
those calf
He's a
raises.
physical player, though. He's physical. Like he tackles well. I mean, Slay's going to be following the number one receivers on every team now. It's different from last year.
He'll be helped tremendously by Darius.
Well, no, the only thing that concerns me about Slay trying the best receiver is like, Hobie doesn't put him in the slot. Because think about if we play the Cowboys. Why doesn't they put Mark Cooper in the slot? They're going to have, let's have Slay go in the slot, which is obviously going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? A distraction from throwing it to the outside. Like you have the Robbie Coleman as your slot corner, so let him be your slot corner. Don't have Slay go in the slot because I don't trust Slay in the slot. I don't.
That's an interesting point. I didn't think of that. I think, in that particular matchup, I would agree with you because I think Dallas, when it comes to their receivers, I mean, they're so stacked across the board. I mean, you could just put Slay on CeeDee Lamb at that point or Gallup or whoever, I mean, and just leave your slot guy, like you said, in the slot. I mean, Dallas just has so many threats at receiver this year.
Yeah. All right, New York Giants lover. Who's your pick on this game? You've been quiet over there.
No, I said the Eagles. The Eagles got it.
Right.
I think they're clearly the better team between them and Washington.
All right.
But, yeah.
Respect.
You're speaking some sense. All right. You're speaking some sense. All right, next
You
game.
can remain on the call.
There's a couple times where I was putting together. There was a couple times where I was just like, you know what, I got to be like just realistic on some of these picks. And a lot of them, easily 3 of them or 2 of them, 2 games were like, oh man, they're against NFC East opponents. Like, all right, set it aside. Let's put some knowledge to this.
Right, so we all picked the Eagles. We all picked the Eagles for that game. All right. Anyone want to pick the next thing we want to discuss, or you want me to keep going at it?
What's the next? No, just go down the list.
All right.
Yeah.
Got the Jets at Bills. The Jets are a mess. They've been a mess.